Good evening. Happy Bank Holiday Monday to everybody over in Ireland. Welcome to the Talkin Kop. I'm your host, Matt. I'm joined by Gav. Going to have a little talk through the weekend's action and the big stories coming out of the football from the weekend. How are you, Gav? Recovered from what was a slightly fiery Sunday night show?
Yeah, Shawnee called a lot of people, a lot of words.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it was good. It was good. That's Sunday night. That's Sunday night. Like it's, we come on, we don't break the game down in massive detail. We just talk about a few things. We have a laugh and then we move on. Yeah, no, I'm absolutely fine. Bank holiday Monday. It's all good.
Yeah. Yeah. Just immediately get it demonetized and carry on from there.
Yeah,
It means absolutely nothing. Major shout out, Dylan O'Rourke, a member in the members Telegram group, just completed the Dublin Marathon
you
yesterday.
did.
Well done to you. I would not be doing that, so
Neither did
congratulations for that. And I guess congratulations are also in order. Just slightly before we came on air here, the Ballon d'Or winner was announced, and Rodri take home the top prize. I don't think there can be a ton of argument against that choice, Gav.
No, it's the absolute standout choice. Like, we've seen all this, like, oh, Vinicius Jr. is going to win it, and his name was all over it. Um, it's and then of course there's talk that, or well, not talk, it was reported that Real Madrid are going to boycott the whole thing because he's not going to win, which is fucking farcical. I see LFC Spectre there saying Danny Carvajal should have won the Ballon d'Or tonight. Won it all last season while scoring in a Champions League final. City paid Ballon d'Or for Rodri. It's a sham of a award ceremony. Do you know what? Danny Carvajal is not a bad show, not a bad show, but he does win it all. But does he? My thing on this is that I think you should be a player that influences games in a massive way all the time. That's why when I see, Trent talking about winning a Ballon d'Or, and I'm nearly afraid to go into Trent because we had one person in particular having a go of us over last night's show, and like genuinely, like I don't know if they're watching the same fucking or watching us. I think they're watching something else and then commenting to us. I really don't. But like, I just think I always thought Rodri, because I think Rodri wins the Premier League. And look, I have issues with that, I do. Um, but Rodri wins the Premier League. He wins the Euros. He gets to a semi final in the Champions League, and he's so fucking good. Like, they haven't lost a game in over a year with him playing, I don't think. Like, he's just being so good, and I think, he ends up coming off in the final, doesn't he, due to an injury, which has actually hampered him right through to now. But all in all, I think it's a yeah, he absolutely deserves it, man. He's been the player in my mind for a good couple of months when anyone mentioned the Ballon d'Or, and it's not the sexiest pick. Vinicius Jr. would have been, or if Mbappe had been on form, he would have been, or if Messi was still around doing it, he would have been. But you have to think of the best player in the world over the last year, and I think it's Rodri.
Yeah.
Genuinely, I
Yeah.
do.
Kev there says finally a deserving player wins it. Dan J. Rodri, the best and most important player of the last 2 years. The thing I would say about it is that I think player to player in the position they're in, I think the drop off from the best in the world to the second best in the world, I don't know if there's a golf bigger than in the number 6 position. Like,
Yeah,
Rodri is
fair.
just, and all the other comments that people are making, can't cheer for City, don't want to give City any credit. Totally get that. Totally understand that. You know that we're all kind of singing from the same hymn sheet about that, but you got to give the devil his due. And Rodri is an incredible, incredible player. So figured we'd start the show off with that because we have another big winner that needs to be talked about, Gav, and that is the winner of the 24-25 Premier League sack race,
Yeah,
Mr. Eric Ten Hag. He finally, destiny caught up with Ten Hag, and he was relieved of his duties this morning.
yeah, and it's 5 months too late. No, genuinely, it's 5.
He won
Listen,
the FA Cup, Gav. He won the FA Cup.
look, listen, come here. Eric Ten Hag comes into Manchester United, right? And his first big mistake is he's making these big statements like, Manchester City and Liverpool eras are there to be ended, all this sort of shit. He comes third in his fourth season, I think. in 22-23. He comes 8th last season. He finishes the league season as a Manchester United manager, I think, with 57 points. Okay, he has a goal difference of -1 in the Premier League. Manchester United manager, right? And you see, what I can't get with all this is he has no style of play at Manchester United. None. If he was a counter-attacking, ultra counter-attacking side that just weren't very good at counter-attacking, you go, well, that's a style. It just hasn't worked for him. But nobody knows what he's doing, and he definitely doesn't. And his players aren't trying for him. They come to the end of last season, and he should have been relieved of his duties. And the funny thing is, like, Ineos, right? The fucking great white knights of all this. Nobody's questioning them. Like, nobody's turning around. Like, why are nobody turning around today going, hold on, you kept them on. You actively tried to get rid of him. You actively tried to replace him. You kept them on. You gave north of 150 million quid again. And then you've got rid of him 9 games into the season. Like, that's lunacy. Like, if the Glazers done this, and the Glazers are doing it because the Glazers still own Manchester United, but if the Glazers were at the forefront of this, it would be mayhem. Like, we haven't seen a green and gold till United is sold in ages.
Breaking into the stadium.
But nothing has changed.
Yeah.
Nothing has changed. The cycle has not changed. They have managers that aren't good enough. They've spent a load of money. They play shocking football. The results are fucking shocking. And whether it's Jim Ratcliffe sitting up at the stand, or Joe Glazer, or Malcolm Glazer, or one of the Glazer lads, nothing has changed. So why aren't Manchester United like absolutely in uproar about this for the last 4 months? But honestly, man, he's relieved of his duties today. He's sacked. He leaves whatever way they worded it. But honestly, as a football club, they finished last season. They openly let it be known that they were looking for a replacement for Eric Ten Hag. They openly let it be known. Scott McKenna, fucking Michael Carrick was being mentioned.
Kieran McKenna.
Sorry, it's not Scott McKenna, Kieran McKenna. What's his face? Carrick was being mentioned.
Southgate.
There was Southgate. There was loads of names being thrown around. Oh, I think they're going to get him. And all of a sudden they were like, no, we're going to keep him. And they're like, no, you're not. You're not keeping him. What you're doing is nobody will come and manage you. So this is the only reason he's staying on. They activate a year and extra in his contract, right? As a big show of, look, we better activate this because we tried to get rid of him and we didn't. Let's look like we're really backing him, right? And then they hand him all this money. And who does he sign? He signs Mazraoui, who used to play for him at Ajax, who's not fucking in favour of Bayern Munich. He signs Deluded, that played with him at Ajax, who's not in favour of Bayern Munich. He signs Ugarte, who went from Portugal, I think, into Paris Saint-Germain, and they realised he couldn't pass a football. They didn't want him. They signed Xerxes, that, big, massive, like, huge talent, a year after spending 70 million on Rasmus Højlund. So that was his front two. They signed him. Previously, they signed Mason Mount, and no one would go near. And he signs all these players that no one else wanted, and clubs were dying to get rid of, right? They back him with all that. And 9 games into the season, they've sacked him. So not now to pay him off. They've now to probably pay off Sporting Lisbon for Amorim.
Yeah,
right?
10 million euros, it looks like the release clause is for Amorim.
And he's going to come in and go, well, I don't want them. Right? Now, he might want some of them, but he doesn't want all of them. So now he has to turn this squad over again. Right? And at the same time, bring, results up, bring performances up. And obviously, like, it's just fucking mad, like, what's going on there. Like, they're taking Ferguson now, not giving him that money anymore. The staff, they want rid of loads of fucking staff. They want this, that, and the other. It's 5 months too late, man. Right? They should have just went, listen, you've done your absolute best. It's not for us. We're going in a different direction. We have money there to spend. We don't feel that you would be the right man to do it. Thanks for your service, and start it now. But I'll tell you what's going to happen here. Like it always happens, right? They're going to bring this guy in. They're going to make big statements about where they want to be, where they want to go, and the cycle will continue. Unless he turns around and says, no, I want this player, this player, and this player. They're all under £40 million. They're hungry and they want to play. He should have been gone 5 months ago. He's gone today. It's a sad day for any Manchester United fan out there because it was farcical. Like that, him being the Manchester United manager from literally the opening day of last season was farcical.
Yeah.
Literally farcical. And then you have the other little weasel at Sky making all sorts of excuses for him, because he doesn't want to fall out with Uncle Jim at Manchester United. And when Gary Neville is standing in the gantry saying, Eric Ten Hag will have to find something or stumble on something over the next few weeks, to get things going at United, because he won't find it by design. There's no hope for you. He's based.
That
Gary
was a
Neville.
shocking bit of commentary.
Yeah,
Like, even
but
Gary Neville has to know better than not say that.
but he can't. He can't, because he's friends. He's meant to be in and friends with the minority stakeholders at Manchester United. For all the Ineos talk, they hadn't got the balls. They hadn't got the balls to turn around and go, "You're out the fucking door," and they hadn't. And they went through the whole summer. Well, not the whole summer, a good portion of the early part of the summer, and everyone going, "Is he going? Is he not? Is he going?" And they were letting them know they wanted him out.
Well, just on the eve of the FA Cup final, it seemed like he was curtains.
Yeah.
It seemed like he was done going in the week in the build up to the FA Cup final, that they had made their decision that he was going to get sacked because apparently they had no confidence that they could beat Man City in the FA Cup final. And then lo and behold, he wins that game and they just walk it all back. They give him another, I think somebody said they're 125
But they don't
million
walk it.
pounds.
But they don't walk it back, because when they win the FA Cup, the day before the FA Cup, everyone thinks he's gone.
Yeah.
He wins the FA Cup. Now, they could have walked it all back and went, "We're delighted with that FA Cup. We see it as progress. We're back in Eric Ten Hag. We feel like we sat down and we put this in place." But they didn't. They didn't. They let weeks go past. They let 2 to 3 weeks go past with every name under the sun being linked. Thomas Tuchel being linked. Every name. The other guy who was at Germany. He's at Germany. I think his name got mentioned. Nagelsmann. They didn't roll anything back.
Yeah.
They just let this run and went, "Yeah, just tell everyone we're trying to get rid of him."
Well,
And then they couldn't.
rolled it
But
back,
the funny,
because then they gave him the extra year and they gave him another.
well,
big
they didn't give him an
amount of
extra
money
year.
to
They just activated the option on the
But
extra
was
year.
it correct me if I'm wrong, Gab? Was one of the lines coming out of Mr. Neville not that there was no standout candidates for United in the
Yeah.
summer to replace him with?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
okay. Because that goes along with what Dylan O'Rourke says here. He says, don't understand why
Yeah.
they couldn't have sacked him in the summer and brought Amorim in, who was in London meeting West Ham in the summer. I mean, Ruben Amorim, who was apparently on Liverpool's short list, it's now come out in the wash. Now, how much of it is PR spin from Liverpool's side of thing, that he wasn't ever really the top choice because his style of play, which is a definitive 3 at the back, was not the way that Liverpool was looking to move forward. And I said it in the Telegram earlier, because Ashley mentioned that about Amorim, of look at how little squad adjustment we needed for Arne Slot to come in and implement a different style of play with basically, almost literally, the exact same players that were there. Whereas with Ruben Amorim, we definitely would have needed to sign at least 1, maybe 2 center halves and readjust the whole team around that way. But there can be no denying that Ruben Amorim was flashing his lashes at anybody to come and get him in the summer.
But you see, this is the thing, right? Ruben Amorim, from my understanding, was in the frame to be Liverpool manager, right? And a couple of things went against him. 1, the style of play, and 2, the amount of money he was looking for. It was a scandalous amount of money, apparently, he was looking for to manage. I think he wanted to come into Liverpool on 10 million a year, right? Somewhere around that region, right? Which is probably what Klopp was on, right? Now, this kind of link now proves to me that they're working on the fly here. They're working on the fly. Even if they're having doubts over Eric Ten Hag, right, throughout the start of the season, Amorim comes up now, and they're going to go for Amorim. Like, genuinely, they could have got him in the summer. If Manchester United had walked into Sporting Lisbon in the summer and went, "Listen, mate, there's 10 million, we're paying out your deal, and we're going to give you 8 million a year," which is not extortion for Manchester United to pay managers, he would have been the Manchester United manager on the 1st of June. So how can they look at this and say there was no standout candidate? But the most standout candidate of them all was probably him. And now they're doing it. And this is what I'm talking about. Don't get me wrong. People will think, oh, it's it might be a good appointment. He's meant to be highly rated. I know fuck all about him, right? He's highly rated. He plays his system, whatever. And to be honest with you, the mess they're in, I think it's easy enough to switch around systems because they need rid of a lot of players anyway. But no standout candidate. So they didn't go near Amorim in the summer. But he's the one in the summer that literally flies from Lisbon to London to let it leak the news that he's going to speak to West Ham, who are never paying him 10 million a year, right? I'm speaking to West Ham in order to try get Liverpool to go, oh, he might look elsewhere. Let's sign him. Liverpool go, you're okay. And he ends up going back to Lisbon and writes a letter of apology to Sporting Lisbon over his actions. Right? So this is now what they're going in for. This is now what they're going. So what happens if Amorim takes over Manchester United and in a year's time does a decent job? In a year's time, Real Madrid come along and go, we really like Amorim. He's going to go on a plane from Manchester to Madrid.
Oh, yeah.
And he's going to walk in and go, here, agent, make it known I'm going to talk to Real Madrid. So all straight away, you're off on a rocky footing where you're kind of unsure about him. He's 9 from 9 in the Portuguese league, but he's out the fucking door as soon as that money gets approached. It's on the fly stuff. It's honestly like if they don't appoint Amorim and they appoint, let's for argument's sake, Southgate, just for argument's sake, and I know everyone wants that to happen. The Southgate one I could understand because he was England manager when this all happened. He finishes up as England manager. He says to clubs, if clubs are interested in him, no, I've had a long time in England. It's been fucking very taxing, whatever, and I know it's an international job, but I need a little bit of time off. And United say to him, well, listen, this mightn't go well here. If it doesn't go well, can we come back and talk to you? Yes, absolutely, you can. Do you know what I mean? But they don't. So this guy was openly available in the summer, but he wasn't a standout candidate for them. And now he is. Why? I'd completely understand if they turned around and said, we've approached Hansi Flick. Do you know what I'm saying? Or we've approached Diego Simeone because they've looked at it and went, this is the guy we want. We don't care where he is. This is the guy we want. And, and they probably go and get him. And best of luck to him. But I'm actually amazed through all this, Matt, how much Ineos and Jim Ratcliffe are already getting away with. Yeah. Because if you take him out of that situation, I promise you, the Glazers are getting hammered for looking for a manager when the managers won the FA Cup. They're getting hammered then for not getting a new manager when they're looking for them for 2 weeks. They're getting hammered for spending all that money on these players that no one else fucking wants. And then they're getting hammered for keeping this said manager for this amount of time when they're absolutely appalling. But if you put Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos in front of it, it's like, no, there's football people in charge now. Jim Ratcliffe is not a football person. Don't tell me he's not.
He seems like an absolute fucking vulture. The cost cutting that he's going through in terms of the good people that have, I obviously have no love for Manchester United, but the people that work behind the scenes for Manchester United, the people that got given their pink slips and told they weren't necessary anymore in an effort to save costs, somebody that's making 40, 50,000 pounds a year sort of thing. Well, you got to get rid of that person to save costs. And then you keep giving this manager money to spend. Like somebody there mentioned, where was it? It was the little dear McGlinchey saying, may as well be season over for United. They're going nowhere this season. All them signings. Anthony, what was it? 90 million. How many of those people that have worked for that club for 20, 30 years, doing work behind the scenes to keep it going on a day-by-day basis, can you keep employed and fund their pensions and their healthcare and all that sort of stuff for 90 million that you spend on Anthony, which is just, I like that. But the other one I like was Jono saying it's funny that they sacked him off the back of one of their best performances because, like, just to talk about the game from yesterday, the first half, they were fucking dynamite. Like, Bruno Fernandes was unbelievably good in the first half of that game yesterday, and they were so wasteful. And where'd that other one go? There it is. That's McGlinchey again. He says Dallo missing the tap in is akin to Gerrard missing the penalty away at Blackburn to get Roy the sack, and it's almost what it feels like because it's something that Roy Keane said of like those players, that dressing room will throw any manager under the bus, and it feels like that there was a chunk of the players there that just weren't buying what he was selling whatsoever. And I think not only he shouldn't even have been there to win the FA Cup last summer. I can't imagine if the shoe's on the other foot and we're talking about Liverpool going through this and we've just fired our manager. I wouldn't have wanted that manager to still be there after losing to Man United 7-0.
No.
I don't understand how that's not a red line that cannot be crossed. And so I want to throw a question out to you and to everybody in the chat. What's your personal low light from Eric Ten Hag's reign as Manchester United manager? What's the thing when you look back on this in 5, 10 years that's going to make you laugh the most about Eric Ten Hag as manager of Manchester United?
The 7-0 stands out because, like, I was at that game, and
You lucky bastard.
honestly, the funny thing is on that game, right, is that United don't play too badly for 40 minutes. Okay, they go 1-0 down on about 43 minutes. Gakpo scores at the Anfield Road end, and I remember sitting in the Kop at half time thinking, not much in that game. Bruno Fernandes has a header at the back post that goes just wide.
Yeah, should do better. Should
And
put it across goal instead. He goes near post and misses.
yeah, no, there's one where it comes to the back post and he puts it across the goal. It goes just wide. And then there's one, but this is the one where they play Veghorst, number 10, and put Rashford up front. And it was like, what's going on here? And I think Rashford might have a half chance as well. But there's not much in the game. Liverpool are breaking well, and I remember sitting there at halftime thinking, you know what? Next goal is fucking huge in this, because I did feel it that day if United got the next goal, I think it'd turn into a very frustrating day for Liverpool, because Liverpool would go after it and not break them down. They'd go very deep and might even catch Liverpool on the break. But what I seen in the second half of that game was utterly appalling. Like, honestly, utterly appalling what I seen. Like, they go 2-0 down early in the second half. Darwin Núñez. Then they have a corner. Liverpool break and make it 3, right? And we know what happens. But I'll tell you what the low light in all this is: making Bruno Fernandes the captain of Manchester United.
Oh, that's a good call.
That's the lowest point, I think, of his Manchester United career.
Because it proves the adage that your best player isn't necessarily the best captain. Because I think he's the best player on that team.
Right. Well, I think Bruno Fernandes. I have a couple of things on Bruno Fernandes. One, Bruno Fernandes walks to the side of the ground, walks to the side of the pitch during that game, and asks to be taken off. You can see him gesture as if to go, "Hey, taking me off," and Ten Hag refuses to. Okay. And at the start of the following season, Bruno Fernandes is captain of Manchester United. That's the lowest point of Eric Ten Hag's reign. And actually, do you know what? There's probably no coming back from it. There's no coming back from it. And then on top of that, when they start this season in particular, and the back end of last, he's playing Bruno Fernandes in positions where it's easy for him to go missing. Play him off the left. Play him in the 10. Play him. And it's nonsense. Bruno Fernandes is a central midfielder. He should be playing deep in a 2. He should be playing in a 2 in midfield. End of story. Because he's a good range of passing. Go and watch him for Sporting Lisbon when he played for them. Go and watch him. He wasn't a 10. He was a centre midfielder that got the ball. He plays against Liverpool in pre-season of, I think it's 2018 or 2019. They beat us. I think they beat us. And he's in the middle of the pitch dictating everything, popping the ball around all over the place. And he was given the opportunity to go hiding in games for Manchester United. And it was easy for him to do it because he could go up the pitch, be forward in the pitch, and they had no ideas how to play football. So they couldn't get the ball to him. So he didn't go back looking for it. He just stood up there and went, look, there it is. But the lowest point of Eric Ten Hag's reign, in my opinion, is making Bruno Fernandes the captain of Manchester United, especially after what he does at Anfield.
That's a brilliant one. And then getting that chicken shit red card so he doesn't have to play us there last year as well. Lots of people are big fans of the era's come to an end quote, which that's going to dog him. I mean, that is...
It's right up there with the time. It's right up there with the time Alexis Sanchez played the piano. When he signed for Manchester United, stupid stuff. But you see, this is the thing, right? Like, people are going, Amarim, what should you do? Blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter what manager you have to bring in. Like, if I'm in charge of Manchester United, I'm saying, look, we're bringing in a new manager. I don't want to hear any fucking big shouts about expectations, what we're going to achieve, what we're going to do. We're going to go in and go, we've brought in this manager. We believe we can progress from. We have a plan in place, and we're going to work harder. It won't happen overnight. It's going to take a period of time to get where we need to be, and we need patience from the people supporting the football club. And the second thing I would do is say, listen, if we hand you 150 million quid, we want 4 players for it. Not 2, not 1, not 3. We want 4. There's no more 50, 60, 70 million pound players anymore because they don't work for them. They don't work for them. They're signing these players for 50, 60, 70, up to 90 million, putting them on huge money. And these lads are there going, this is a fucking shit show. And it doesn't matter because I'll get paid and I'll wander around here for 4 or 5 years. I get big money. If they want me to leave, I get a payoff and happy fucking days. They need to go back to a system that says, look, if you want to play for Manchester United, you won't be the biggest earner in the world. Right? You won't get the biggest contract in the world. We're not going to pay extortionate money for you. We're not going to chase you around like we chase Jadon Sancho or Anthony or any of these. We're going to pay what we believe is the value for you. And when you come in, you're hungry to play for Manchester United. Right? And if you're good and you're hungry and you're on 80 grand a week and you do really well, we'll give you 100. And if you don't want to play for us, fine. Don't play for us. That's what you need to get back to. Because the way
Gav, you're sounding like how Liverpool was run.
no,
Of bringing players in that want to prove
but
something,
Liverpool
and
had to
giving new contracts, and
Yeah, but Liverpool had to
players
do that out
growth.
of necessity because Liverpool didn't have the mad money that you're talking about. Liverpool, 90 million on a fucking on an Anthony. 100, was it 90, 100 million on Jadon Sancho, 60 million on Mason Mount. We've signed one player for 75. We've signed the goalkeeper for 70, right? And who's after that?
Darwin was
Well,
190 million, wasn't it, with all the asterisks?
Darwin's 64, rising possibly to 80, right, or 84, whatever it is, right. But that if you make your money, they're only paying that if you make their money. These guys are going out and paying this. You know what I mean? Like Lenny Euro, 120 grand a week, 18 years of age. Fair enough. Do you know what I mean? But it's like that. Maybe the year someone says there, like Hotline says, to be honest, Gav, it's getting very close to being a necessity for United. What they are doing isn't sustainable forever. I agree, but they need to change. They need to change people's outlook of them because the outlook of them right now is if any player is there, they're going, I can go over there, lads. They're giving fucking mad money out. They're giving 5-year contracts. And if you do anyway well, you can walk up to the boardroom and go, Marcus Rashford's on 350 grand a week. I think I'm as good as him. Give me the money. And they go, okay, Grant. A bit like Pogba and De Gea and Rashford's scenario a couple of years back. They need to change it. They need to literally tell people, if you don't want to play for Manchester United on our terms, fine. We'll find somebody else. And you'll end up then getting players in that are hungry, will work, will listen, will learn. But I promise you, there's loads in that squad will not listen or learn or work. They have their fucking contracts. They don't care, and if they get shipped out, so be it, because they have a contract, and that needs to
And
be
if they got
fucking paid.
to sit around and do a Jack Rodwell, you sit around and you do a
Yeah,
Jack
you just
Rodwell.
sit and go, Grant.
Yeah, I'll come train every day. You're gonna pay me 200,000 a week to practice? Sure.
Yeah, and listen, I hope they don't do all of this. I really do. But if anyone at Manchester United has any sense about them, that's the route you should go down. Especially with Jim Ratcliffe's outlook of cost cutting and bringing things into line. And they're probably cost cutting because a lot of people believe that PSR is very, very fucking close to them. It's a shadow looming over them. So, maybe that will make it a necessity, like Hotline said. But honestly, it's fucking mad stuff. And listen, I know you're going to get it. And Chris Brack said to me earlier, you can put money on Gary Neville saying, oh, he turned down Liverpool in the summer, but he's taking the United job, which is nonsense. You're going to get people saying, oh, United swoop in for Pep's successor at Man City, which is nonsense. No one's heard fucking anything like it. It's honestly, it's they need to just sit and go, you know what, let the appointment go ahead. Everyone keep their fucking mouth shut. But they can't help themselves. They can't help themselves because
No, of course they can.
they're still living in 2000 and fucking 12, 13. That's where they are. And It takes an awful long time to get out of it. And I'm saying as a Liverpool fan, who when Liverpool win the league in 1990, people thought in the early 2000s, oh, Liverpool are this, Liverpool are that. Liverpool weren't. Liverpool were fucking brutal, right, for the vast majority of, nigh on 2 decades, right? Yeah, 2.5 decades. So, until until you press a reset button, until you reset where you want to be and reset how long you can be comfortable with how long it's going to take. A bit like Liverpool did with Klopp. Klopp comes in 2015 and says, maybe in 5 years we'll win one title. So he's not telling you he's going to win everything.
Yeah.
But everyone from day one, even when Liverpool lost, was like, don't worry about it. Klopp has this.
This is Manchester United. This is Manchester United. It's absolutely brilliant. I mean, it's more than enough airtime for what was one of the funniest managers of the last couple years. But just to go through, I would say I think his biggest negative legacy is going to be the signing of Anthony. I think he might go down as maybe the worst signing in the history of the Premier League. I mean, there's still time for him to turn it around. I know he's injured right now. He could come back with a bang under a new manager, but I don't think that that's likely to happen. But Megan McCallion and Ashley reminded me of another one. The whole situation with Sancho, a player who United chased for 2 windows, paid the big money, and chased him out of the club the first chance they got. And then Ashley points out the way that Ten Hag disclosed the private mental health of one of his players in a public press conference was disgraceful. And that shit was fucking embarrassing. That's beyond the pale. Like, you just can't be doing that as an employer.
I have a regular, not a regular argument, but I have a fairly regular argument or discussion over Jadon Sancho Manchester United with a friend of mine, Dar, who's a United fan. And my whole thing on that situation was they lose at Arsenal that day, right? And he's asked about Jadon Sancho. Now, Jadon Sancho could have been the biggest prick on earth, right? Turning up late, not turning up, not putting the work in, boom, 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 boom. He could have been that. But I still don't think Erik ten Hag, when asked a question about Jadon Sancho, should say anything else other than he picked up a knock during the week. He didn't make it. We're going to assess him over the next few days. Yeah, and he should have told, if it was me and reading between the lines of the situation, you go to Jadon Sancho and say, listen, we're not getting on. You've no time for me. I have no time for you. But this doesn't go outside the football club. So if I'm asked about you, I'm going to tell people you've picked up a knock. You didn't quite make it. We're going to assess you over the next couple of days, and then we're going to play it from there. You don't come over looking bad. You picked up a knock. What can we do? I don't come over looking bad. I'm not fucking throwing you under the bus. And that's exactly what should have happened. And listen, whether you think it's right or whether you think he's wrong, the fact that it happens tells you everything. Tells you everything about what's going on there. And not only Ten Hag or Sancho, everyone else around the club. Because there's people that are advising him. There's advisors around the club. There's PR people around the club. There's players liaison officers. There's loads of people there that you can go to and go, listen, what do we do here? And you say, that's what we're going to do. He has a knock and we play it from there. But to sit there and in a press conference and throw it all out to the world is wrong from him. Jadon Sancho's not blameless either. But as a whole club, you have to be sitting there looking, going, what the fuck is going on here? You can't say that. You can't put this out here. So there you go.
Yeah, it's just a disaster all around. Just quickly, Gav, who do you think they're going to appoint, and who would you like to see them appoint?
Well, Gareth Southgate's the fucking, the pinnacle.
That's who you want to see them appoint?
Oh, Jesus, yeah. If you think you're bored now watching Manchester United, this guy just takes everyone's ability and decides that that's not important. And he goes and just makes up a team that he doesn't want fucking centre backs passing it. He doesn't want full backs going forward. He doesn't want anyone in the middle of the park being creative. He just hopes that maybe one of his 2 wide men get a ball into a centre forward. And that's how it works. I think they will get Amarin. Yeah. Enough respectable journals are out tonight and have probably been briefed. Because the thing for United here is if they let him go and this goes on for, I know the wording of the statement is, Ruud van Nistelrooy will take over in the meantime while we recruit a new manager, and all of his staff stay in situ as well, by the way. If that goes on for too long, or any time at all, I think people are going, "What is that?" Do you know what I mean? But even bringing in Ruud van Nistelrooy was a stupid fucking thing to do anyway, because it's just the ghost of Christmas past fucking standing behind you, every fucking day of the week, and more pictures of Ruud van Nistelrooy in training and in tunnels and on sidelines being taken than actually the manager himself. I think they'll get Amarim because I think he's money mad and he wants into England, and the first chance he gets, he'll go in. But they could have done it in the summer, and they
I
didn't.
know. It's hilarious. I think they're gonna get him. I agree that it would be the funniest thing if they got what seems like it's going to be the future Sir Gareth Southgate. I'm not entirely sure. Apparently they're just handing those things out for absolutely nothing. But if it's Amarim and Tickle pointing out here, and I had this thought earlier too, I cannot wait to see the back three that he plays with those defenders because my God, I watched Mikel Antonio beat Matthijs de Ligt in a foot race yesterday. And
Yeah.
you should never lose a foot race to Mikel. This isn't Adama Traore or some lightning fast winger or something like that. This is Mikel Antonio. And De Ligt just got absolutely scorched by him. So if they're going to play three at the back, then please. Yeah, Jonas is the world's slowest back three.
You see, with the back three, and I think someone has said it's a 3-4-3 kind of players. But the thing is, with a back three, right, you need to have very mobile centre backs to cover left and right. But then you need to have really, really fucking good wing backs because you'll be exposed down that side. And the makeup of that Manchester United side to play three at the back with the possible wing backs they have, they'll get eaten alive. They'll get eaten alive because it's all very well going three at the back and two wing backs. That's 5. Now you've only 5 left. So what are you doing? Are you playing a box in midfield? Put 4 in there and 1 up front. Now you're just crowding midfield and 1 up front. Now they'll just kill you down the sides. And now they'll drag your centre halves out from left and right and they'll hurt you. It's a hard system to play. It's a really hard system to play. Thomas Frank is being linked. Chris Hockley, he's in the betting as well. Seeing so many names, but I think it will be Amarim.
I think Thomas Frank would be the smart. Like if I'm a United fan, that's the coach that I want them to go and get. I think what he's done with Brentford is just exemplary.
But if the likes of Thomas Frank, and people laugh at him, but I said this about Thomas Frank when Spurs were looking for a manager. It depends what you want to do. If you want to go in and you want to pick up players that you feel will come in, not these young, Archie Gray types. I'm talking about fellas that are 22, 23, 30 million quid. They come in, you get them for 4 or 5 years. They fucking rocket. They skyrocket, but they skyrocket underneath you. And if they want to go on to bigger and better things, so be it. And Manchester United fans don't want to hear that. And Liverpool fans don't want to hear that. But that's what happens. They either become like a lifer at these clubs, and it's like, look, he's been there 10 years now since he's 23, or they're South American and they want to go and play in Spain. You know what I mean? But that's what you need to get back to. Don't worry about the end destination with them. Worry about what you can get from them now. And what you can get from hungry players that want to come in and play with you is unbelievable. It's a hard club to go into. It's a hard set of players to adjust. But again, if they keep their head down, they make a couple of signings each window over the next 3 or 4 windows while selling off and trying to break even at the same time. They can do it. Have I any faith in them doing it? No.
That's a hard ask.
I think your man Ratcliffe is an absolute and utter spoofer.
Yeah, but even just trying to sell off some of the players that have been brought in, to all those ex-Ajax players that are on such big money, that's going to be they're going to have to take some massive losses to try to get those players gone.
Well, they've taken a huge hit on Sancho as it is. Like, there's a huge hit on Sancho they've taken.
Well, he's only on loan, though, isn't he?
Yeah, but there's an obligation to buy, I think.
Oh, is there? Oh, okay.
Yeah, right. And
after his cheeky little applaud.
Well, I don't know if that actually happened. I don't know if that happened today. But then you look at the likes of Anthony. Like, if you're getting, honestly, if someone's paying 30 million for him, I think you're doing well.
Not a chance. There's
right.
No
so
way.
now you're losing 60, right? And then you look at, if you want to get Casemiro out the gate, right? He's costing you a load of money. There's other signings there. Listen, do you know what? I know it's Manchester United, but it'd be really interesting to see what they try and do. I would expect they'll stick to type. They will bring a manager in. They will throw 150 million at it each fucking window to see what happens. But they're probably not in that position to do that right now.
Yeah, it's I love the comment. Sam Tandy says it was cheaper to just buy the entire Ajax football club than all of their players.
Probably was. Yeah, 600
Yeah.
million spent on that.
And I mean, if
under
you've got
Ten
the
Hag.
type of money that Manchester United have to throw around on all these ex-Ajax players, if you're anywhere close to having that amount of money, then you can definitely help us out by throwing some money towards our two charities that we have going on, which is fan supporting food banks in Liverpool, the Lighthouse Cafe in Dublin. You knew it was coming at some point, people. We're going to keep trying to raise money for these two wonderful causes doing absolutely fantastic work. If you can help us out by donating, you'll find the GoFundMe link in the show description on YouTube or any podcast you're listening afterwards. Take that link, share it amongst your social media, help us reach our target. Please, please, please. One final word on Ten Hag, a comment from Jono from a little while ago. He says, the funniest thing is that Eric Ten Hag won more trophies at United than Arteta has won at Arsenal, which brings me nicely onto the next thing that we need to talk about, and that is the Arsenal. Gav, they have the memory of goldfish, the Arsenal fans.
I don't even mind that memory. I just think they're fucking lunatics. Like, honestly, they are fucking... Like, they genuinely need an intervention. They need some sort of mental help. They really fucking do. Like, it's... Right, so... I watched this game yesterday, right? And I think the biggest thing to come out of this game yesterday should have been, on any reasonable level, should have been most Arsenal fans or most Liverpool fans going, you know, even if you wanted to be an Arsenal fan, you'd say, you know what, Saka played, but he's only back. You know, Jesus, we lost fucking Gabriel, Timber. You know, we hadn't got over the guard, and you make all these things, and that happened. That's natural. You know what I mean? And you know, we played okay, but did we deserve to win it? No, probably a draw is the right result. If you're a Liverpool fan, you're probably coming over and you're saying to yourself, didn't play great, done well the second half. We got a good goal and a set piece. They got a good goal and a set piece. It's two of the top three teams in the country. These games go like this quite a lot. You take the point, you move on, no one's hurt, right? That's probably what the logical thing to do is. Because if you look at it as a game of football, that's the way it played out. Liverpool had spells, Arsenal had spells. They get a goal, we get one. They get one, we get one. You know, there's chances. But overall, you're probably looking going, nah, in my opinion, neither team deserved to win it. That's my opinion, right?
I think that's fair.
And that's the way it should be kind of looked at. And that's not to simplify it or make it like fucking idiot proof. But my God, like, it's fucking insane to carry on now with these people. So I have to give a shout out to Antio, who's in the chat a lot. He messaged me this morning with 3 clips and he said, look at this. And I couldn't help myself. So I had to put the 3 clips up onto Twitter, right? There were 3 clips from Arsenal Fan TV, and each in their own right was bananas, right? So the first one he sends me is, it's like a clip, and I think the person says, the person interviewing these couple of lads standing outside the Emirates or whatever, says, look, it's early days, still early days in the league. I think he says something like that. And they goes, oh, look, it's way too early to be writing anything off. And this fella straight away, but don't forget, we won this game 3-2 today. As far as I'm concerned, we won this game 3-2. And until Howard Webb wants to come out and discuss it. And I was like, what? Like, what the fuck's going on? Like, you didn't win. You drew. And everyone knows you fucking drew. What are you doing? Don't be saying things like that because it makes you look weird, right? The next clip is this guy standing with Robbie Loyal, right? Who's the owner of Arsenal Fan TV, outside the Emirates. And this guy is going, Liverpool, fucking don't mind Liverpool. He's giving it the big one, right? All these lads around him who all look really fucking weird. They're all standing around as well, by the way. And he's like, look, you look at Liverpool, they're talking about Liverpool. Are you joking me? Sure, Liverpool couldn't beat Arsenal's B team, their U team today. I went, what? What are you talking about? What do you mean their B team, the U team? These are all first team players you had playing. And what fucking youth players did you have anyway? What youth players did you have?
The Lewis Skelly kid came on
Lewis
for
Skelly.
10 minutes.
Yeah, and Saka came out of a youth team. Who else did?
But he's not a youth player anymore. Saka is
no, but he came out with a youth system.
In 1 year. In 1 year, he had a 20-minute sub
So
appearance.
3 of them. So we calling it the U team now?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So then that was grand. And then this third guy comes on and he says, look, I'm not even being biased. Which when you start a sentence with I'm not being biased, it means I'm 100% going to be biased.
It's like
Right?
when somebody says, I'm not racist, but
But
buckle up
yeah,
because you're going to hear
exactly.
some
Yeah.
racist shit.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And he says, I'm not even being biased here. He said, I'm not worried about Liverpool at all. You look at Saka, 30% fit today. And I went, if he's 30% fit, your manager should be the social services should be ringing your manager. Right? Okay. That's the first thing. And then he went, 30% fit today, they would have been in huge trouble. They haven't played anyone yet. They haven't come up against a proper test yet because Arsenal didn't have their full team out. And I've no doubt that if Arsenal had their full team, we'd beat Liverpool. And I'm like, okay, maybe they would. But are we just going to stick with the team Liverpool have here and let all of your players come back to play in order to prove your point? Or can we bring all our players back as well?
Yeah.
Like,
No.
absolutely mad. So, if you don't mind me, right? I was having a lovely time on Twitter today. One of the nicest days I've had in a long time. So I just want to read out some of the posts that came across my way, if that's
I love
okay
it.
with you. Okay. So, oh yeah. The first guy that's ranting, or the second video, the first rant, this guy goes, don't worry about Liverpool. They won't win a title for another 30 years. COVID, man. COVID one can't save you anymore. And I was like, mate, your manager won the FA Cup in the same season Liverpool won the league title, right? His only trophy is the same season that fucking we won the league title. So what are you going on about? Anyway, let me see. I just have to go back up here. There are all the 3 rants. Now, Rory talks football is the first one.
He knows what he's talking. Rory knows ball.
Well, yeah, I don't agree. So here we go. He says, this is the decision, by the way, where I don't think that that Szoboszlai is fouled. I don't think it is, right? Fair enough. Ball goes up. Mate, is it foul? Is it not? Nah, we don't know. Anyway, Havertz jumps in and fouls Konate with an elbow while handling the ball at the same time. Flicks it over Kelleher. The whistle's gone by this stage, just to let people know. And then pushes fucking Trent Alexander-Arnold into the fucking net, right? Okay, and the talk is that Jesus is actually offside when he taps the ball in. When the ball's played, Jesus is offside. Anyway, on this decision, Rory Talks Football says, this is simply inexplicable from Taylor. Good start. There's no foul in there. No Liverpool player appeals. Okay, we'll get back to that. You can tell he doesn't think it is either. You can actually tell. He knows what Anthony Taylor's thinking, right? Until he sees we're about to potentially score, and only then does he blow the whistle. Who benefits the most from a draw? Right? Asked Rory. I replied, there's 2 fouls in there, and the ref blows when the first one is committed, so there's no need to appeal. Rory talks shite. P.S. Why are Arsenal allowed to surround refs and nobody else is? The game's clearly corrupt. Okay? So, that was a great start to the morning. That was whatever time that was this morning. Sorry for reading through my Twitter page.
No, it's okay. I love to see how you spend your bank holiday Mondays.
I spent it really well. Okay. Next one up, Mr. DT at Mr. DT AFC says the injury to Gabriel changed the game. We were the better team until that point. I'm not bothered by Liverpool. Apart from Alisson, they were full strength. And I was not bothered by them at all. He's not bothered. He's mentioned not being bothered twice in the space of 140.
You can tell he's not bothered then.
Yeah, he's not bothered at all.
Totally.
We are still winning the league. I just replied, so many lies. This guy will be top of the queue and want the club folded when they lose 1 or 2 more games. And that is true. That's exactly what's going to happen. Okay. Con Harrison is the next up. Is there any online referees, same situation by the way, where Hazard elbows Konate in the face and handles the ball at the same time, leading to Anthony Taylor blowing the whistle for a free, as you would as a referee? Con asks, any online referees here that can try to justify where the foul is here? I just simply replied, Con needs help if anyone here is about. Okay, so I did try to point.
Any online therapists?
I tried to point Con in the direction of people that may be able to explain it. Because to be quite honest, I was sick and fucking tired of explaining it. And if you need it explained, sure, Jesus Christ, what do you need to explain for? Right. Then Adam Keys, and I don't blame Adam. He just literally puts a clip up of Stephen Warnock, that girl with the short hair on Sky, and the two other people that stand on the other side of the screen while they do ref watch. And he says, Dominic Szoboszlai doesn't challenge. Incorrect. Dominic Szoboszlai jumps to try head the ball. As Stephen Warnock said, it was cowardly. We'll get back to Stephen Warnock. The Jacob Courier went in full-blooded and won the ball because he was committed. When you have a depleted side and it's 2-2 against Liverpool, these decisions are huge. First of all, Dominic Szoboszlai does jump for the ball. Courier, I agree, he went in full-blooded and was committed. I absolutely agree with it. Stephen Warnock is calling him a coward. That's funny, because Stephen Warnock, instead of embracing the argument he wants to have with Rafa Benitez, who still lives on the Wirral, he could actually find him whenever he wants and have that discussion. Doesn't. He goes on to podcasts like Under the Cosh and onto Sky to just put a pair of glasses on him now because he's aging. He puts a pair of glasses on and he has a big moan about Liverpool or everything. I wonder, does he still work for LFC TV? I'd be surprised if he does. Anyway, I replied, just to clear it up, Matt, I replied because I felt I needed to do this. The foul was on Havertz. The foul was for Havertz on Kanate, where he felled and handballs it. Szoboszlai does attempt to jump, but don't let that cloud the utter nonsense. Moving on. Would you like me to continue or should I stop?
I just love it. I to give my 2 cents on it, because I did see some of these. I'm a Reddit user. I don't use Twitter because it is just a cesspit of just nonsense and garbage.
Until days like this.
Well, you can believe me, there's plenty of nonsense and garbage on Reddit as well, too. You just go on over to r/Gunners and read some of their threads that they have up there. And first off, he blows the whistle. So if you know anything about sports, if the referee blows the whistle, it doesn't fucking matter. Anything that happens afterwards, and I would point out to any of I called them goldfish memories before, and I've seen lots of people in here mentioning that how aggrieved the Arsenal fans are, because the one thing I saw reading the post-match thread on the Arsenal site, I wasn't commenting, I wasn't being a troll, I was just lurking, that's what you do on Reddit, was all these Arsenal fans going, when the shoe's on the other foot, we'll see how Liverpool fans like it. And it's like, do you not fucking remember when we had a completely legitimate goal stolen from us against Spurs last year? But that's not even the one for the one at the end of the game where they had the ball in the back of the net and it's 3-2. First off, the whistle went, so it's never going to be a goal. Even if the referee made an error and VAR gets involved, they can never give that goal because the whistle blew. That's just how sports work. When the whistle blows, that's it. You play to the whistle, not after the whistle. Who was it last season? I think it was West Ham last season. Do you remember when the referee told the keeper to go down so that he could blow the whistle when he had thrown the ball out and Gakpo was going to tap it into the empty net? And the referee goes, go down, go down, go down.
Yes, West Ham.
Don't fucking tell me about bullshit fouls. Not only that, Kev, I don't think it's a bullshit foul because Kivior, you call it full-blooded. If you look at it, he's not really he goes in at such an angle that it can only ever be called a foul. Like, he's not running and jumping straight up for the ball. He's coming in at such an angle that
I'm okay if he goes up over the top of Szoboszlai and heads it. I'm okay with that. But that's not the point. The point is the ball then continues on where Havertz jumps up, elbows Kanate in the face, and handles the ball at the same time, to which Anthony Taylor blows the whistle for a free out. What happens after that is immaterial. Like, are we going to get to the stage now where if Arsenal draw 2-2, okay, and the final whistle goes, and one of Arsenal's players bring their child or their kids onto the pitch for a fucking, round of applause,
which they would do early
and
season,
that child kicks the ball in to the goal, do Arsenal win 3-2?
They do.
Is this what we're at? Like,
yeah.
Right. Okay. Anyway.
They do. And Odegaard will be there taking pictures of it. It's
okay. Then who did I come across next? Oh yeah. AFC Camden says, how did we play? ? Just throwing it in there so people know what's going on. Good when we were level. Passive when we were in front. But to finish the game with a back four of Partey, White, Courier, and MLS, who's Lewis Skelly, and still get out with a point is not bad. My main takeaway, we'd batter Liverpool if we were full strength, no doubt. I said his main takeaway is mad, considering they couldn't beat Liverpool despite Liverpool's injury problems. Who Liverpool were listed with more injuries than Arsenal yesterday. Just to let you know. Next up is the EPL Bible. And they said, we're not quite sure why this one was disallowed. I simply replied, you absolutely can, but that's not how clickbait merchants work. And then the CEO says, I urge all non-Arsenal fans to watch this and put all biases and hatred aside and look where Taylor is looking when he blows the whistle. I did look. I had a good look from multiple angles.
Was it at the bonus screen of his Fantasy Premier League app, like
He was
the
looking.
ref was in Man United's game?
Funnily enough, he was looking at Havertz fouling Kanate when he blows the whistle. And then I decided that's enough Twitter for today. I put it down and I said enough is enough. If they're going to continue on, I cannot commit to supporting them in this really, really difficult time any more than I have done today, which was over the space of 5 to 6 hours on a bank holiday Monday. So that's how it is. It is insane. Yeah. It's insane.
It's a massive victim complex that they have. Like, they're just, everybody's aligned against Arsenal and everybody hates Arsenal and no other team gets the bad decisions against them that Arsenal do. And I would point out to any Arsenal fans to look at I think it's a 3-year running total of VAR incorrect calls that have led to goals being either given against them or disallowed for them. And the fact that Wolves is on -13 and Arsenal is like Liverpool at a 0. So, we can't really cry too foul because we've had VAR decisions go in our favor and go against us. Wolves have had 13 go against them. But no, it's all Arsenal, Gav. It's all Arsenal.
It is all Arsenal. And look, I had fun on Twitter today. And to be honest with you, like I don't take it too seriously. And anyone that's kind of looking at it or reading it shouldn't take it too seriously, to be honest with you. Because, like, genuinely, if you take that app seriously, there's something seriously wrong with you. But my thing on this is that I feel like Arsenal, the club, the manager, the fan base are on an absolute knife edge. It's on an absolute knife edge. And you see, I think Arsenal fans spend an awful lot of time over the years absolutely hammering the club, hammering players, hammering managers, going back Wenger and Unai Emery, and then obviously Arteta comes in. And don't get me wrong, like, if you look at Arteta, they win the cup in 1920. Yeah. They've a league title push of sorts in 22-23. So 2021, 21, 22 aren't league pushes. The sort of way. And he wasn't exempt from people, asking fucking questions about him. The sort of way. But I think I think in the back of their minds, they think, can this fella actually do it? And I think they're afraid to tip the scales here. I think they're afraid to go, you know what? Arsenal didn't win that game yesterday because they weren't fucking good enough to win it. Forget all. Don't stop making excuses. Stop saying about injuries. Everyone can make excuses about injuries. Nobody has a fully fit squad. They just don't, right? And I actually think they're on a knife edge. And a lot of them believe that if I make a negative comment on this manager or the style of play or the result or anything, I won't be able to go back. And it's only going in one direction then. And that's where I think they are. And I think it's in their subconscious. Because I've never, ever known. I've watched Manchester United win title after title. I've watched Arsenal, funny enough, in the late 90s into the early mid-2000s come and challenge Manchester United. I've seen Chelsea, right? I've seen Chelsea, who probably had every right to be emotional because they fucking poured loads of money into it and had to win, right? I've seen Manchester City. They're different. I don't like talking about them because they're a different beast altogether. I've seen Liverpool. But I've never seen such emotion, and not even good emotion, not adrenaline emotion, not emotion where it's like determination, such fragile emotion, and that just clouds everything they think and everything they say that I have come out of Arsenal. And I genuinely, like, I'll put it out there now. If they don't win the league title this year, I could see that club just fucking like it'd be an abomination because I think that's how close they are on a playing side and on a supporting side. Every single day is a drama. Every single match is a drama. There's no 2-0 straightforward wins. It's all emotion. It's all fucking, conspiracy. It's everything's against us. Blah, 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 blah. It's actually insane to watch. Like, it's actually worrying to watch.
Yeah. It's I mean, there was Ashley said there that it seems like Arteta is morphing into Jose Mourinho. He is not nearly funny enough, nor, as somebody else pointed out, successful enough. He doesn't have the trophy haul to claim the mantle of Jose Mourinho. But also, Jose Mourinho is just funny. I mean, the comment he had after the match where he got yellow carded or red carded from the bench, where he's talking about the ref having eyes on either side of his head. That shit's funny. But Ant Dicko replying to Jono saying they actually act like Arteta is Ancelotti, and this is when I say from Thor from earlier. Thor says, I'm going to keep saying it. Arsenal have the arrogance of Real Madrid and the trophies of Rayo Vallecano. And that's just, it's hard to argue against that. I'm not sure how many FA Cup equivalents in Spain Vallecano have won. It's probably none. But it's too big for their britches. Like, there's all these cliches that you can talk about it. And it's the emotion part of it. Because where is that? Shit, where'd that other one go? There it is. Super Dizzle. They don't have a manager to harness the emotion. This is what Klopp did so well. And I love this comment because I get why the emotion is there. Because you're in a couple of title fights, like you feel like you're the team to be challenging this cheating juggernaut that are Manchester City. We were there and we had that emotion. But we had Jurgen Klopp who knew how to take the emotion from the fans, whether it was in the crowd or just in general at large, and harness it in a way that was a benefit to the team, that lifted the team up, that didn't feel like with one result we were going to tear ourselves asunder. Because even when we went through the 2021 season where we didn't have any center backs, and the 22-23 season, I'm just trying to keep my years right here, where we were poor, I don't remember the fan base, whether it was inside the stadium, whether it was the traveling cop for away games, or the online fan base in our chat here, on Twitter, on Reddit, wherever you want to get it, that were like tearing each other apart limb from limb because it was just too much for them to handle. Like, Klopp was the conductor that was there to just keep the emotion in check and channel it in the right directions, it felt like. And Mikel Arteta, he couldn't be any less like Jurgen Klopp in that sense.
Yeah, but and I agree with you. They don't harness it well, but I don't know if it's worth harnessing. Because I think where the actual emotion comes from, I don't think it's worth harnessing. I think the emotion Liverpool fans had with Klopp was a determination to get it right, a determination to back each other, and you harness that by being like, no one's going to beat us at home. We're not going to be easy for anyone to beat, home or away. We don't get beaten at home. We go a goal down, the crowd rises, and we get after them. Yeah. This emotion is like a toxic one. And it's so fragile. It feels so fucking fragile. Like someone says there, they're 800 million in. They're 800 million in. And
that's a lot of clams.
And listen, and to be honest with you, they didn't really. They had a title push last year, but everyone just won games, and that's how it goes and stuff like that. And they lost out. Liverpool were the same in 18-19. 97 points, finished second. And the only thing Liverpool kind of done about that season,
R97 is head and shoulders above what Arsenal put in last
year. Yeah, I understand that. And then I don't know if that's the season where I don't think it is. No, it's later on when Rodri handles that Everton. But in 18-19, all we talked about was too many draws. Too many draws. But what did we do? We took it and we ran with it. Arsenal have failed to win 44% of their Premier League games this season. And that's where it's all coming from. It's not that they're winning every game and, we're winning, but City, look at City again, they're winning because fucking someone picked the ball up and threw it in the net and they got 3 points. It's not that. It's honestly, it stinks to me of a group that feel like they're at breaking point. They feel like they're nearly hitting their pinnacle here. And their pinnacle might just not be enough. And after your pinnacle, there's only one way, and that's down. You know what I mean? And listen, they might win the league. They may win the league this season. I have them as favourites for the league this season. Going on the squads and going on a couple of bits and pieces around Man City, i.e. Rodri and Kevin De Bruyne. But it's I could be wrong. And again, I find it hard to find Arsenal people that you can actually have a fucking decent conversation with. But me just looking at it, it just feels like this is mental. It's not all together. It's not driven. It's not all in the name of one fucking goal. It just feels mad. And that's 6 or 7 tweets that I seen today that I had to answer to, right? And I don't mind mentioning the people that I re-quote with because they put it out there in the public domain. So why not? But if you look at all of it, it's all mad. Like, why can we please stop talking about when the whistle goes? Because if you actually just go from where the whistle goes, it's a free kick. So everything else that happened before it or after it is immaterial. Do you know what I mean? So, look, we've taken up fucking 70 minutes of people's time talking about Manchester United and Arsenal, but they're the two big talking points of the weekend, to be fair.
And it's not like you had a shortage of things to say.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Like, and if you could have written 2 topics for me tonight, it was definitely them too. Because
you made the agenda. You did.
No, I didn't mean you. I meant in general. If the world was writing 2 topics, they fell into me. They fell into me lap today. Do you know the sort of way? But
let's do a quick rundown of the rest because this is supposed to be a weekend review. I think this weekend is a perfect encapsulation of a mantra that anybody that is a fan of the Premier League should have going into any weekend or midweek of action, which is if you don't watch Manchester City, you're going to watch something enjoyable. Because if you didn't pay attention to the Man City game, the rest of the fucking games were pretty great this weekend. There was some incredible late drama. The Brighton Wolves game is the 4v1 that Brighton have and don't score, and Wolves go down the other end and immediately score is the most karmic thing I've seen in a long time.
Unbelievable. And like they were 2-0 up, weren't they? I think Evan Ferguson scores for Brighton on around 84 minutes.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing it going, 2-0 Brighton, fair enough. And I was kind of thinking, Wolves, Jesus Christ, that's another game gone, they've lost. And then I seen it was 2, and then it just flashed up 2-2. And I didn't know what happened until someone put a clip up and went, watch this. Like, they've literally got a 4-on-1. And you see it breaking, and you're like, hold on, this is a Wolves account putting this up. And next of all, your man gets in the way of the ball somehow. Pass.
He passed it right to him. The Brighton guy passed it to the Wolves player.
And then it's like literally a pass out, a pass to Cunha. And in fairness to him, when I seen it, I was like, what's he shooting for from there? And what way is he shooting? It's fucking ridiculous looking. He should be slipping her outside to the guy around. And he hits it. It goes off the studs of a player, bounces and goes up and hits the roof of the net. And the scenes in the Wolves end. And amazing. I'm not a big fan of Wolves fans because I think they're fucking shite when they come to Anfield. But the scenes in the away end, when you can clearly see some Wolves fans have left, thinking this is fucking 2-0, fuck this. It was absolutely fantastic. So I really like that.
Zapatista and Scouser Pete and Ashley all saying that Brentford deserves a mention because of their entertainment factor.
Mental.
First off, they didn't score in the first. No, it took them shit. Ipswich were 2-0 up in the first half an hour. They only scored just before halftime. So for a change, Brentford doesn't score in the first 60 seconds of the game. But Ipswich get the man sent off, and then they bring it back to 3-3. And I was in the Telegram chat with a bunch of people that were also watching the Saturday games, and it was like, this is a big point for Ipswich. This is a big point for Ipswich. and Brentford just go and win the game, and it's like, I kind of feel sorry for Ipswich because they showed such, and it was a good goal that Delap scored. He actually looks like a pretty decent player.
Was he at Man City?
He was, yeah. He was a Man City Academy product.
Yeah. Look, Ipswich are 2-0 up in that. They're 2-2 at halftime. They're 3-2 down. They go down to 10 men. They get a fucking goal. And you're like, lads, just fucking see it out. And I think it's 96th minute and they can see it. And you're like, Jesus Christ, that was mental. And then the other one of the weekend for me is Palace beating Spurs.
No, I called that one from the get-go.
Well, Palace have been absolutely deplorable this season.
But worse than they should be. Palace have no right to be going into that game. Like, they shouldn't be 8 games into a Premier League season. That Palace squad, with the amount of talent that they have, I think Glasner's actually a half-decent manager. And he showed it at the end of last season, the form when he took over, when Roy finally went out to pasture. I think he's a decent manager. They've got a
he done very well the back end of last season. I just thought the loss of Anderson at centre half and Elise, I thought, had a huge effect on them. Madge Apple says they could have won by 2 or 3. I believe so. And for the record, Mickey van der Ven should have walked.
He should have.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
And
it was because it was another one of those Saliba.
I know. Look, if you look, the ball for me, but it's not going, like, it's not running out towards the sideline. The angle it's played at, it's headed down. It's running in that direction. He gets beyond them. If he gets a touch on that ball and he gets away from Van der Ven, gets goals to the Van der Ven, he's a goal scoring opportunity. Yeah. It's a red card. But I've said it before, and Arsenal fans were banging on about it. The sleeve one's a red card. But the only thing I will give Arsenal fans on this is that it will change. But that's not new. What happens is they give these decisions. They say fuck all about them. And then they actually change the criteria for these decisions without any notice to anybody. You know what I mean? I think it's a red card all day. And funny enough, the one I don't think is a red card is the one we possibly should have got with Jota, because the ball's running into the channel. And I don't care about Levi Colwill. He's not goal-sided Jota, so that doesn't fucking matter how quick he is or where he is. It's running into the channel. This one is headed on an angle where if he gets goal-sided him, the ball is actually running into the box. Yeah. So it should have been a red card.
I think, like, the angle that the ball was bouncing when Van de Ven takes him down is, yes, the angle of the ball is taking it towards the corner flag more than the goal. But I think because, like, the Saliba one and the Tosin one with Jota are near enough the halfway line, you can say it occurred at halfway. This occurred basically at how do the Americans say, the top of the D. Yeah. You know, it was basically at the edge of the 18-yard box. And yeah, the ball was going out on an angle, but one touch and you're opening your body up to curl that ball around Vicario. Like, I was shocked with that one. I was also surprised to see that Villa threw it away real late against Bournemouth.
I wasn't. Because no. I think Villa have a good win in Europe during the week, don't they?
Yeah, top of the Champions League.
Yeah. And I still think they're adjusting to European football on the Wednesday and Premier League football on a Saturday. I still think there's a small bit of adjustment there. Now, I could be wrong. They could have, but I think they might have failed to win 2 of their games after the Champions League this season. I think that might be a little bit of adjustment there. So, and I think Bournemouth gave a good account of themselves. I believe your man Duran missed a sitter as well, but that was a big point, big 2 points dropped for Villa when you look at it, considering Arsenal draw against us then.
Yeah, it's 2 draws for Villa coming off a Champions League game. So they beat Bayern, then they drew 0-0 with Man United, and then they beat Bologna.
Yeah, I knew they failed to win. Yeah,
and draw against Bournemouth. But yeah, and then the ones from yesterday. I mean, obviously, Manchester United fans should feel aggrieved because the VAR call at the end is atrocious. That's not a penalty.
It's so bad, and a manager's being sacked over. Like, genuinely,
you should have been sacked games.
Yeah.
Years ago,
I agree. He should have been gone 5 months ago. But genuinely, that's the final nail. Is that decision for that penalty? Yeah. It's not a penalty. Yeah. The guy goes to kick the ball. Danny Ings hasn't even got the fucking ball. It's not a penalty.
Can I just say, Gav, that I know last season we did shows especially after the Spurs game and stuff like that, where you and other people on the show, probably even myself, said, we need to put aside the tribalism and all come together as fans, demand better from the PGMOL. I have stopped doing that. I have completely stopped doing that. I am now going to rage and be infuriated when calls go against us, and I'm going to laugh maniacally when calls go against teams that I hate, like Manchester United, because it's never going to get fixed, Gav. There's nothing we can do about it. So you may as well just enjoy it and laugh at it, because I watched that and I giggled my tits off over the fact that they called him over to the screen, and it was like, well, if he's calling him to the screen, he's going to give the penalty. And they kept showing the replay, and it's like, that's not a penalty. He can't give. And he gave the penalty, and it was an injustice, and I loved it. So I'm
But the
here
thing
for it.
is,
I'm
right?
not with asking better from the PGMOL. They're fucking terrible, and it's not going to get better. So just enjoy it. Be tribal.
But the thing about it is that challenge goes in from Deluded
Yeah.
on Danny. It's not even a challenge. He just goes in and stands somewhere. You know, it's like they were fucking jostling in a queue, you know, for fucking Taylor Swift tickets. And he goes in. Danny Ings hasn't got the ball. Yeah. Hasn't got the ball. And he goes, no penalty. I don't know how VAR look and go, he's clearly and obviously missed a penalty here. You know, they've clearly and obviously missed a penalty because that's what it's meant to be. A clear and obvious mistake. It's not a clear and obvious mistake. It's a referee looking, going in, going,
I don't even think it's a
nah.
mistake. Let
No, it's not
alone
a mistake,
clear
by
and
the way.
obvious.
No, it's not. I think the referee's original decision will be, no, no. Because, like, there's not, like, the ball isn't, he hasn't got the ball. There's not enough contact there for Danny Ings to go down like that. And in fairness, Danny Ings goes down like he's being fucking shot, you know, when he's got a little tap on the fucking toy.
Love it.
It was horrendous. It was a horrendous decision.
I
But
absolutely love it.
I've been saying it for so long. I've bored the tits off people, telling them, I'm sure. But honestly, they don't care because they're not good enough and they've a grey area to live in and they've two referees working professionally for TV companies that will fucking find a way in no matter what to squirm them out of it. And then the world continues on as if nothing happened.
You knew Dermot Gallagher was in the green room. He had just had his makeup done, and he's about to get called out there for ref watch today. And he's like, "This is going to be a tough one. I don't know exactly how I'm going to weasel my way out of this one because he's never going to go. They got it wrong. They're always going to find a way to weasel out of it. But that was a tough one for poor
Awful.
old Dermot.
Awful.
Poor old
Absolutely
Dermot. And the only other one that bears mentioning is, and I'm going to go here with my hot take, Gav. I think Chelsea finished third ahead of Arsenal this year. I think Chelsea are a serious proposition this year.
I thought it was a big win for them. Newcastle. I don't know what to make of Newcastle. I don't know whether it's
They're shit.
injuries. Eddie,
Their
okay,
defense is terrible. Look at who
okay.
they have playing defense for them. Livermento is fine, but he was good for a shitty Southampton team. They got Lewis Hall that Chelsea didn't want sold for PSR reasons. He's fine. They got Dan Burn, who's tall. That's his number one attribute is his height. And they got Fabian Schär, who's a decent enough defender, but he's not top 10 of the Premier League. I don't think any of those defenders or Nick Pope, I don't think any of them are getting into our team, City's team, Arsenal's team. They're not going to get into Spurs' team. Maybe Pope over Vicario, maybe. I don't know if any of them are getting into Aston Villa's team. Like, I just don't think Newcastle have a very good defense, and teams
Anthony
are.
Gordon wasn't in the squad.
What's that?
Was Anthony Gordon not in the squad?
He didn't play. He didn't play in the game. I don't know if he was.
No, he wasn't in the squad. I looked it up before the game, and he wasn't listed as injured. So I was like, "What's going on
Didn't
there?"
he just get a new contract?
Yeah, I didn't know what was going on, but the thing is, Chelsea look like they have an idea about what they want to do. And funny enough, I think one of the biggest things in it is if you watch, he's sticking with Lavia and Caicedo. Now, Enzo Fernandez was the captain of that team last year. And
To be fair, everybody was the captain of that team.
Yeah, but I think he was the captain on a lot of occasions. And then I even seen Caicedo wandering around Anfield with it on, I think, it's at one stage the captaincy. But that's a £120 million player. Or £105 million, whatever it was, €120 million. And he's decided, no, Lavia and Caicedo are my two at the moment. And he's sticking, in fairness to him, to a fairly, this is my team. Changes one or two out maybe on the wing. I think he drops Sancho and brings Neto in at the weekend. But overall, he's trying to keep it as steady as he possibly can. And because of that, not without all the fanfare and the bullshit that comes with Chelsea and all the fucking players they have, no one's talking about that anymore because he's literally going, no, fuck you, there's me 19, I'm bringing them on or there's me 20 or whatever it is, I'm bringing them, they're me squad, and if I need anyone, there's a lot of lads over there that I can pick if I need to. And because he's sticking to it, and the more you stick to teams and get them to continue playing with each other, they will get better, and they have got good players. I tell you how much they've come up in my estimation. They're playing Manchester United this weekend or next weekend, and they play Arsenal, I think, the weekend after. And I'm kind of looking at both of them games going, they're tough games for both of them, considering, Arsenal are a fucking emotional wreck, and United are now managerless. And I wouldn't have looked at Chelsea like that, even the back end of last season, but I do now, and I think they're really taking steps, and I think I don't like him, Maresca. I think he's a little prick, but in fairness to him, he is sticking to his guns, sticking to the players he wants, sticking to the way he plays, and that's coming up trumps for Chelsea slowly but surely. They will have hiccups. They were beaten at Anfield, but they were good at Anfield.
Yeah.
They've beaten Newcastle, who can be tricky on their day, but I don't know what way to read Newcastle. I haven't seen enough of them. But no, it was a good win for them, and they'll fancy themselves, especially with the fact that if you beat United and you beat Arsenal, you're making real inroads.
Yeah,
With regards to
that's just why I get the strangest feeling that Chelsea's going to be like. I don't think that they've gelled enough, and Maresca's been there long enough to put together a title charge. You never know; crazy things can happen. You know, we all
if you
watch
beat United, if you beat United and Arsenal, they are in as much of a title race as Arsenal are.
Yeah, which is Jono saying he thinks Arsenal drop out of the title race in the next 2 games, which should have happened last weekend if we'd have got, or yesterday if we'd have got the 3 points against them. It probably would have been, it's early days. We're not even 25% of the way through the season yet, but you get what you're saying. We've been through this before. We're Liverpool fans. We know what it takes to go up against this relentless juggernaut of a Manchester City team, and being 7 points back after 9 games that's almost impossible to draw back from it. But I think Ruud van Nistelrooy is going to have a perfect record as interim manager, and then he's going to get replaced by Amorim, and then all the United fans are going to be calling for Ruud van Nistelrooy to get the job permanently, and it's just going to be a little recycling of the whole Ole Gunnar Solskjaer thing over and over again.
Yeah,
and long may it continue. Much like I would like this show to continue, but I think 80 minutes is more than enough from us. But there was just so much stuff to get through from the weekend. Everybody in the chat, you guys have all done absolutely fantastically. The chat was flying tonight, and that is one of the joys you get when you become a member of the Talkin Kop. $3.99 a month. Become a member. Always get access to the live show chat. Get access to the 30s when Gav is up and Adam in the morning, giving you guys some bonus content. Hit your notification bell. Hit the like button if you've been here watching us. Anything else before we go, Gav?
No. Trying to wedge the odd 30 in this week. Kids are off school, so that's a struggle. I have walk on a couple of mornings a week, so that's a struggle. But we will be back tomorrow night with a preview of the Brighton game. I think we'll play Brighton Wednesday. So we'll be doing a preview of the Brighton game tomorrow night. Myself and Phil will be recording our own podcast, Having the Breeze. I think we're doing that tomorrow as well.
Ask him how the Bears did yesterday.
I will. I haven't heard from him in a little while, to be honest with you. But and I don't watch
a Hail Mary in one of the most hilarious Bears fashions you will ever see.
Well, I don't watch that until the playoffy bits come in and it becomes really interesting. The rest of it is sure shy. There's no point. But I think we're doing that tomorrow as well. So loads coming there tomorrow. We'll have the reaction to Brighton on Wednesday, and then we'll be looking forward to the weekend's football. So we'll be bringing you shows for that as well. That's all I have. Sorry, Antico mentioned Zoe's Place. So Zoe's Place, of course, is the hospice in Liverpool for children. 6.4 million needs to be raised. We need to give a big shout out to the owner of Home Bargains in Liverpool, who has pledged £2.5 million to that, which is just unbelievable, which leaves the total about 1 million short. And that million should be cleared in the next couple of days. I think a couple of businesses or football clubs.
I was about to say, why are the members of Liverpool and Everton not just?
Yeah, I don't know. They must have their own reasons. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. They have their own foundations as well that they do stuff for. I don't know, but I think it'll take one or two other companies in Liverpool to follow suit with Home Bargains and make that 6.4 million available, which means that hospice will forever have its own place to be and never be in this sort of position again. So wanted to give a shout out as well on that.
Yeah.
But we're definitely gone now.
Hey, I mentioned the work that the Redmen TV did with their big telethon YouTube show that they did. And I'm sure that there was work done on it, obviously not being from the area or, in that local media sphere. I don't get a lot of local Merseyside media over here unless I search it out. I hadn't really heard about it until it popped up what the Redmen guys were doing. And so it was like, holy shit, look at these guys. Like, they really got the ball rolling on this. So I saw that big donation from the local businessman there today. But as I think it was Pete Taylor said in our Telegram group, it shouldn't even need to come to this. This stuff should all be, how is a children's hospice not just funded by the government? What the hell is the point of collecting taxes if you can't fund something like a children's hospice? So, and Scouser Pete there says the Home Bargains owner is a Scouser, and he's showing his Scouserness, or they are showing their Scouserness. I don't know if it's a man or a woman, whatever it is like that. But yeah, that's absolutely fantastic to see. And like them raising money for a charity, we're raising money for a charity. I presume Phil's still tracking along raising money for his 5 for 5.
Absolutely, yeah, he is. And yeah, look, we'll keep going, we keep doing things, but when it comes to children's hospices, there should be no excuses, because I can guarantee you, the next big building that's built in Liverpool, somebody's probably getting paid 6 million to do up the plans for, or do the drawings for it, or pick the fucking windows or the tiles that have to go in the canteen. So 6 million quid is not an awful lot of money when it comes down to these sort of things, and it shouldn't happen again. And it should be a marker put down for all these hospices, where the British government and even the Irish government look at it and go, hold on, what hospices have we got in this country? Are they okay? Make the money available in a one-off payment to secure them forever. And it should be done, because I just think
so you don't have to have lunatic middle-aged it's running up and down mountains and kayaking 1,000 miles.
It's inexcusable to have a hospice for adults or children on the brink of closure, considering the service they bring. It's just inexcusable. End of story.
Absolutely. So on that cheerful note, whether you take that sarcastically or not, thank you everybody for joining us. This is an absolute riot. Thank you, Gav. I've been Matt. Thanks for watching. Hit the like button on the way out. We'll see you on the next show. Adios.